I'd like to give a special shout out to all my patrons, my Wildlings, Night's Watch, and Kingsguard. My Kingsguard include Brendan, Nick, Oscar, Stuart, Josephine, Ikaika, Amanda, RJ, Shad, Nicoletta, Ezra, Jennifer, Jeffrey, Sarah, Pat, Kevin, and Ryan. Thank you all so much. You're the best. Welcome back to the Fantasy Network, everyone. My name is, of course, Jimmy Nuts, and today we're back with Dudes Talking Manga. Last episode, we did Vinland Saga chapters 1 through 28. Great time. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. But today, we're going to be talking about Berserk Deluxe Volume 2, which covers editions 4, 5, and 6. And I'm joined by my co-host for Dudes Talking Manga, and that is my best friend, Andrew. Andrew, how are you doing today?
What's up? Doing good, man. Stoked to be on here.
Yeah, my first Berserk video, and if you haven't seen that, make sure to go back and check that out, where I actually review the Black Swordsman arc, which is essentially all of Deluxe 1. I did that one by myself in a typical video fashion, but as we go through manga, we're both reading and we said we want to discuss this, and we haven't actually had a chance to sit down and talk about Berserk yet.
Yeah, we've been kind of we just get little snippets here and there, just waiting for the video. So I'm pretty excited to unload all my notes and everything. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I hold myself back a little bit when we're texting about it because I want to get the raw reaction when we film these.
Absolutely.
And we're both, by the way, the reason why we're breaking up for the deluxe editions, that's just how we're purchasing them and reading them. And it makes it nice. 3 editions gives us a little bit to talk about, so we can stretch the episode out and give you guys a lot of good content. And they're beautiful.
They sure are.
They're absolutely gorgeous.
Everything about them.
So I guess we'll start talking about Deluxe 2. And I think to do it correctly, we do have to kind of talk about the ending of Deluxe 1, which begins the Golden Age arc, which everyone talks about. And it's very long. It's much longer than the Black Swordsman arc. But just to kind of recap what happens at the end of 1, we see Guts as a kid, right? We see Guts, and he's found by a band of mercenaries. And we see that he's underneath his mother, who has passed while giving birth to him, which seems like a pretty ill omen, I would say. And the band of mercenaries take them, which we know ends up being Gambino, and Sis is warning him, this is a bad omen. Sis ends up dying, which we'll talk about a little bit. But I'm kind of seeing why Guts is so messed up.
Just born into violence immediately.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to think about Gambino whenever we trailed off at the end of the book, of the end of Deluxe 1. But I think quickly we kind of figure out that Gambino is a piece of garbage in in book 2.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you had glimmers of hope for him in the first book, and that quickly goes out the window.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe Guts, seeing this tragic beginning of his life and then him being taken in. I'm thinking, oh, Gambino's going to be a father figure to him, which I do think Guts sees him as.
Yeah, absolutely.
And through the eyes of a kid, you're optimistic, you're naive, and it's unfortunate because Gambino is not a good guy.
Not good at all. Yeah.
No. And Guts is learning from him and everyone how to fight. And they have a battle, and we see a character named Donovan comes in after the battle to celebrate the battle. And obviously, probably I assume one of the more controversial moments in Berserk, abuses, we'll put it that way for YouTube's policies. We'll say he comes into Guts' tent and imposes himself on him and abuses him. And I don't know about you, but this is like kind of where Deluxe 2 starts off, right? Like that's like the cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, bro. Like
one.
Yeah, stop there, and then it comes right back in, just smacks you in the face, and then just off to the races, 100 miles an hour from there.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen. I figured Gambino might step in, but then Donovan says, Gambino sold you to me.
Bro, my heart sank when I read that.
It was tough, dude. It was tough. And like the panels, like they weren't overly graphic and in like nudity or anything, but it was like hard to look at. You know what I mean? It's just hard to process what's happening to Guts. And we know, like, we've seen Guts, right? With his cannon arm, and he's killing people, and he's kind of a standoffish guy. But this is a kid. This is Guts as a kid, and it's like really tough to process.
Yeah, I kind of thought that he looked a little bit like, and I don't know if he drew him like that on purpose, but at first I thought it was the Count, that Donovan was the Count.
I thought they looked alike too.
Like a lot of the stuff, I was like, okay, well, here's where we find out about the Count. But really, no, it was just showing how dastardly that Gambino was.
Yeah, and maybe it's a style, right? That he
Yeah, this
chooses
could
to
be it.
illustrate in. The panels, by the way, in Berserk are probably my favorite so far in manga.
So
They
good
just have
stuff.
a different, yeah. There's just a different level of like grittiness to them that I
Yeah.
really appreciate. And the art's excellent. The good news is that Donovan doesn't get away with it for very long, because in the next skirmish, Guts puts it to him and kills him.
Boom, right there. Instant gratification. I was
And,
like, all right, good. We
and
can't let this dude get away with this.
oh, I was pumping my fist. I was still
Oh, yeah.
sad. I was pumping my fist. And Guts is saying,
Yes.
"Say who sold me again." Like, who? Because Guts is in denial. He doesn't
Sure.
believe that Gambino would do that.
I was in denial too. Still,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he's just saying that. There's no way.
And then like you think, okay, well, at least Guts got revenge. Maybe he'll start to process that. And well, no, because Gambino ends up getting crippled in that battle.
Yeah.
It's another blow for our young lad,
Dude, he just gets just heaping piles of crap every time he wakes up. I mean, he doesn't even get it when he sleeps. He has horrible dreams too.
He does.
Bro
And,
can't catch a break, man.
and his dreams later on, I thought there were some interesting notes from his dreams that we'll talk about. But you're right, he does. He's like plagued by nightmares.
Yeah,
And
always.
man, Gambino getting crippled, I was just like whiplash. You know what I mean? So much stuff is happening in this.
I
Deluxe
know.
deal. And people told me that. They said Golden Age arc is so much better than Black Swordsman. But I really liked Deluxe Volume 1. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But they weren't kidding. Like this is,
and I think that was a good way to set the. I mean, well, it's just such a different momentum. I mean, every 3 pages is something else huge is happening.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel too fast though. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
especially coming
it's
from
paced.
like, yeah, like I read books, right, and big methodical books, and I like slow paces, but this never really feels like out of pocket or rushed to me.
No, I never felt like that.
Yeah, and the panels are paced really well as well. I really enjoy it. But yeah, so we see Gambino, kind of his downfall, right? He's sitting by himself. He's getting drunk. He's playing with the dogs, and he treats the dogs better than Guts. And you can kind of see that Guts is starting to realize these things. And it all cultivates with Gambino coming in drunk and saying, you were our bad luck. Everything went bad when we got you, Guts. And he blames him for Sis dying, which we talked about earlier. So that ends up being a catalyst for Gambino finally kind of saying, hey, I hate you. And his leg's missing, and he finally admits that he is the one that sold Guts to Donovan that night after the battle, which is just gross.
Bomb, man.
And of course, what does Guts do?
Like he always does, kills him.
He murders.
Murder. Yeah, like I was, man.
Just 187. Just
it doesn't matter.
Him.
Just doesn't matter anybody's skill or anything. Like, I mean, I think that they had to make him crippled for him to be able to beat Gambino, but
and still he tried not to. Like,
he really did.
He did his damnedest, and and now so we have Guts being born of a dead mother, right? We have him joining this mercenary band. We have him having his incident with Donovan, and then he kills his father figure.
Oh, his trainer, father figure, everything.
But we can just wrap it up here, man. I mean, it'd be like Gohan killing Piccolo,
right?
but to be fair, Piccolo wasn't an abusive asshole. Well, I guess he did kind of beat up Gohan a lot. Now that I think about it. He never sold him then.
I was gonna say, you never sold him for the night. So
yeah, Jesus. All right. So, by the way, the panels that begin the sections, and this one specifically was an end of a chapter going into the next one of Gambino getting killed. Those panels and the art where it's a little bit more 3D.
Oh, dude, I love that. I have notes to talk about that. They're so sick.
Listen, I don't have any tattoos, but if I ever had a tattoo, I might get a Berserk tattoo.
Dude, there's that one with the, I don't know, is it Behilt? Is that?
Yeah, the Behelit. Yeah,
dude, the one page. We'll get to it though, but with that hand holding it, that's so cool.
It's so good, dude. There's so many like iconic scenes that stick out in my mind. I've said it a million times about the guy's face getting crushed, but
yes, the eyes.
Yeah,
I'll look at this for like 10 minutes, and you just appreciate all the details in it.
Yeah, I was rereading this before the episode and just like flipping back through, and it's just like there were story beats that I had forgotten since the first time I read it, but there was art that I remembered vividly.
Yeah, it's almost like you're like looking back at just a flip book of art, like you're like a studio almost.
Yeah, and it's interesting because obviously the lines and stuff impact you, but like those panels of Gambino getting killed by Guts like
Mm,
stick with me. So you get like double impact, and it's just something I really enjoy about manga. As me and you kind of go through it.
yeah, no
Um,
doubt.
and I guess that we should also state that for anyone watching the first time, we're pretty new to manga. Like we just started Vinland and Berserk, and we're going to cover more stuff on Dudes Talking Manga, but these are the first two we're going to tackle, and then we'll move on to other stuff as well. But we are kind of new, so if we say something out of that's incorrect or something, it's not because we're trying to upset you. It's because we're noobs. So
Yeah, don't know any better for
yeah,
sure.
be kind. Everyone's actually been really nice. I
Yeah.
messed up. I messed up. I'm gonna call her Bug again. Puck's name. I messed up Puck's name in the first episode. I got the gender wrong. I mean, I just messed up in my first review, and people were so nice to me. And I think I had like one person that was like, "Hey, idiot." I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I'm
No,
talking like 20 comments of just really kind people. So many people are just excited that people are getting into Berserk. So kudos to everyone who left a comment and corrected me. That was kind. I actually do appreciate that stuff. So
yeah, the fans are definitely awesome. It's a great group of people for sure.
yeah, for sure. Especially in Vinland too. Like it just seems like manga fandoms. Like I've had nothing but positive experiences so far.
Yeah,
And
welcoming you in, like, here now go to anime, like, not yet.
we'll get there.
I
We'll
want to
get there.
read it first.
Yes. So Guts eventually runs away, right? He gets found out. People are like, he killed Gambino. Gambino was like a father to him, someone says. And I'm like, get out of here, dude. Like, hey, Guts, kill that guy.
Yeah, right. Stab him in the
Kill this jabroni over
Right.
here. But you fast forward a bit. After he runs off, he gets found by a group of mercenaries. Seems to be a theme in Guts's life. We jump forward a little bit, right? And he's slaying people, doing what he does best, killing, and he's getting noticed for his ability to murder people. And we see somebody that is in the first edition in a much different light, because obviously the Golden Age art is a flashback. Griffith. Yeah, did you catch that it was the same person from Deluxe One?
Honestly, you text me something about it, like, you said, like, Griffith, and I was like, for some reason, when you did that, it just snapped. I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's the dude. Yeah, okay, that's him from the first one."
He
'Cause
was
the
with the
hair
God's Hand,
yeah.
and Guts was not happy to see
No.
Griffith in the Black Swordsman arc, but we see, immediately they have some tension. But as we go through this, we'll talk about how that there's a friendship there and a
Mhm.
love, and it's interesting because we know apparently in the future they're going to hate each other. So,
Now what before he got found, did you like, when he slayed all those wolves, for some reason, I was like, "Dude, is he gonna get raised by wolves? Like, seriously? Is that gonna happen?" Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, right before
yes. So
the
yeah, it's a good point because when he runs, he falls off a cliff. This is before Griffith. I actually missed this in my notes here, but he falls off that cliff. And did you know that fall should have killed him?
right, yeah, it was ridiculous.
Did you notice that in the panel it shows the moon, and then the next panel the moon's like glowing?
No.
The
I'll have to
moon
look
is
back at that.
different. The
Yeah?
moon is different in the panel. And I
That's
put here, I
interesting.
said, is there more to this, or am I just looking like for something?
I'll have
Because
to look back at that because I didn't notice that at all.
I called it on my reread before
Yeah.
we went live. I caught it and I said, man, that moon looks different. He should have died from that. And then the wolves come.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
I thought for sure they were gonna just pull him in, and that's how I'm like, I don't know how he got to fight that well by learning by wolves, but are we really gonna make him raised by wolves? Like,
One like bites them, but they kind of seem apprehensive. And another
yeah,
thing, there's multiple panels in 4, 5, and 6 here in Deluxe Volume 2 that show like big moments of revelation for Guts,
yeah,
and the moon is above him. Like it purposely zooms out, and there's always a moon above him.
that's actually a good point.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
hmm, because this is fantasy, right? Like we have Griffith and the God's Hand, all these people. Like there's clearly gonna be fantastical elements in this. So I'm thinking
mhm.
maybe there's a connection between the moon and
Well,
where
yeah,
he
you
almost
have
died.
demons and stuff, so it might be like going with the actual different moons, like the blood moon and harvest and
What if
whatever
he
else.
died? What if the moon? And we're going fuck.
I mean, we're going down the rabbit hole here, but I
But
mean,
but what if he died in that like what if what he's living is a different, because he meets Griffith, who we see is with the God's Hand. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like there's just so much to it, and it seems odd. By the way, folks, if any of this is right or wrong, don't tell us because
yeah,
we're just making
please.
these predictions. We just want to find out as we go. No spoilers beyond what we're reading now. but I wanted to bring that up. I'm really glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
That's I mean that makes I mean because you haven't seen like where he gets branded yet, and you obviously like still haven't seen what happens with Griffith. Well, we'll get that later.
and
But
he hasn't lost his
arm
arm
yet.
yet.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm wondering about. But yeah, if you go back and look at that panel, the moon flares whenever he wakes up.
Yeah, I'll have to check that. Well,
Yeah,
if I try to find stuff while we're on here, I can never find it.
yeah.
Even if I have a marker in it, I can't find it. It'd be open, and I
That's
still
the
won't find
rules.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rules.
Don't read while you're on the video.
So we end up meeting Griffith, right? Griffith is going to kind of take him under the wing. They have a duel first, we know that, but Casca is a female companion to Griffith. Seems like kind of like number 2 to Griffith in the Band of the Hawks. And then they do the duel. Casca automatically, like, I can tell she doesn't like Guts from the get, right?
Immediately.
From the start. Yeah, from the jump. But the interesting thing here is we've only seen Guts beat the Guts, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Griffith smashes Guts.
Yeah. With like a way smaller sword, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he does say something about that. He's like, how is he parrying with such a small sword? Which, I mean,
But
Guts
dude,
has a slab. Like,
bro, what about whenever, I know he lost, but what about when Guts catches the sword in his mouth?
Dude, I lost. I've never heard, seen anything like that.
Dude, I felt that in my molars, bro.
Oh, dude, I hated it. It made me just cringe. But
yeah, dude,
you just tell he is there to just win.
Yeah,
And he didn't, but I mean, whatever.
And he didn't. It was a cool duel. I really like watching it fall out. But the interesting thing is, like, you can tell that there's a change in Guts' attitude towards Griffith as soon as he says that he wants Guts.
100%.
I want you. And we all know, like, he doesn't have a place, he doesn't belong. And Casca is immediately jealous and seems pretty romantically, if not romantically, just I would just say in general infatuated with Griffith.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is really displayed well on the page, I think, because Griffith has that, like, oh,
always,
like, yeah.
So it blur the background so it looks like it. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So one other scene I really, really liked, and this comes shortly after, is they win a battle, and he's with the Band of the Hawk now, and he's by himself, and I'm talking about Guts. He's by himself, and then the crew comes and gets him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to party. I don't want to hang out. And then the big dude, I don't know his name, big dude just basically forces him to celebrate. And then, like, Guts like, what the hell, man? And he just, like, hands him a beer and he's like, drink.
Yeah. I think that was a turning point for sure. Because that was when you start seeing him become a part of the group and finally be like, yeah, you know what? These guys aren't that bad. I'll have some beer and let loose a little bit.
I mean, it was nice for me because even though I know Guts clearly has his faults, which there's tons of them.
Yeah.
To see a little break in the grimness was nice. I thought.
Yeah. Well, that was when he like fended off everyone by himself, right? Right after that.
Yeah, I mean, he does that all the time because
just left his crew and just fought everyone.
Well, that's the one thing. He's still susceptible to that dangerous behavior and going in by himself and risking it all, playing the martyr. Really, you can tell he wants to die. I mean,
that's why he goes into battle. He's just too good to fight. You're too good a fighter.
I mean, he kind of conceded that he wanted to die whenever the wolves attacked him, so I think that plays into his mentality. So even though he kind of gets his initiation here and he's part of the group and it's a good good moment, we'll see. He just continues to do the lone wolf tactic.
Puts the walls up for sure.
So this brings us to one of the more interesting points here in Deluxe 2, I think. And it's Guts and Griffith playing in the bath together. It's very good natured, but did you feel like there's like a romance there? Or is that just okay? Because
I was with it. And then maybe because it kind of sort of looks like the bathrooms in Oz for me. And like I just automatically went there. I mean, that's just what I don't know. I definitely had that.
Well, and whenever Guts is being essentially challenged to the duel when he's talking about, you'll be mine if I win, Griffith telling that to Guts. I mean, Guts doesn't react very well. He says some homophobic things, and I think that's obviously part from the trauma that he suffered
for sure.
But that was like immediate defenses, right?
Yeah. Not so even letting him hear out what he was meaning by it either. Yeah, just immediately on the defensive.
Yeah. to see that and then go for him like playing in a bath with Griffith, it's like very good natured. It shows that there is growth.
Mm-hmm.
That there is growth there. I mean, people listen to us talk about Berserk and we talk about all the killing and stuff, but there is some sort of character progression happening here.
Yeah.
It is painful. It is slow. There will be regression, but
Yep.
I do see that it's moving forward. And I'm curious to see how we ended up in the Black Swordsman arc that we already read,
100%. Yeah, that's what I keep too, because every time, I mean, you do say with a regression, but they do just keep getting closer and closer. Griffith has the respect for him as a fighter, as a person. I mean, he like says, "I want someone as my equal," and he even references back to their duel we were talking about. That he was like,
Yeah.
"That was super fun, man! Like finally, someone that can play with me." Like essentially.
Yeah. And I said that they were naked in the bath, but it's not true. Because Griffith had a little necklace on, and that necklace was the effing Behelit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was like the Leo meme. I pointed at the book. I said, "Oh, it's the thing. It's the thing."
Right?
Yeah.
I
And
thought it was like this big though. Well, I guess here. Well, like I thought it was huge, and then it's just a necklace.
it seems like it's like a golf ball, maybe a baseball.
Yeah. Well, no,
Maybe-
I'm talking in the first book. Like I thought, like it was originally when it showed it, I thought it was gonna be a lot bigger.
Maybe there's more than one. I don't know.
That's my thoughts on it. Because maybe it's not the actual one. That was what I was thinking. It was like a recreation of it, but it still moves and it blinks and like I don't know. There might be more than one. I think that there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of mystery revolving around it. But Griffith does tell us that with his own flesh and blood, for his own flesh and blood, he can obtain the world with it. And he tells Guts that this is just the beginning, and he will have his own kingdom, which Griffith is a merc, like he's kind of like lowborn. He's not royalty. He's not a knight or anything like that. So for him to claim that he's going to get a kingdom, I think Guts is kind of like, yeah, right, dude. But the Behelit being there, I mean, I think it's called the egg of the god, right? Or something like that.
Well, I think that it's called, I had the egg of the king, but it
Egg
might
of
be
the king.
Yeah.
Egg of the king. That's correct. So he has that now we're starting to see why Griffith is so important. We're starting to see that maybe this is part of that aura that we talked about earlier. And then we jump into the battle with Nosferatu Zod. And if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, but that battle with Zod,
bro, I thought he was
rolled. That battle rolled.
Yeah, I just literally was looking back through that. He looks like Beast from X-Men.
A little bit.
Little bit. Like in his first form, he's like, "This isn't even my form." Like you're like, God, dude, this guy's already OP, and then he just got bigger muscles, bigger horns, and just tearing people in half.
I mean, he's beating Guts' cheeks, and again, when somebody beats Guts up, you know that it's a big deal, right?
With no weapons, and he's just like a naked centaur, just whooping up on him.
But he even says, "Hey, Guts, you actually are able to wound me," and then Griffith jumps in. Griffith gets got.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he survives is because, of course, the Crimson Behelit is there, right? And he's like, "Whoa, you have the egg of the god? Like, what is this? Like?" And he mentions the god hand by name here.
Mm-hmm.
He actually says the god, and this is Zod talking. He says, "Hey, you have the. I'm out." He freaks out and dips, but before he goes, he says he has a prophecy for Guts. And he says, hopefully they'll meet again because he'd like to continue the duel. But he says, if you're going to be friends with Griffith, he will experience a death that he can never escape when Griffith's ambition collapses.
So crazy.
So we're starting to see a little foreshadowing what we saw in the, the Black Swordsman arc. But that entire thing, the reaction to the Behelit, I mean, Zod giving props to Griffith and Guts,
it's clearly got some power of some sort. And like over a demon that's 400 years old, that's never even hardly been touched by a sword. Something to it.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, he claims he bought it off of like a gypsy or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. And he
bruh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And also, if he says that the rules are for his own flesh and blood, what's that mean?
Yeah, true. What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Is it his flesh and blood, like his body, or could it be family? Does Guts then become his family somehow and he sacrificed? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's pretty deep.
And another thing about Griffith, and since we're going down these rabbit holes and talking about the Behelit and everything, remember, like Guts and them go to like another dimension when they meet the God Hand in the first. It's like they're teleported or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, that's what it seemed. Yeah, I mean, with all the stairs and everything.
So that was another thing with the moon. I was like, what if, like, Does that signify a changing? I don't know. I'm very curious.
I want to see what ignites that for sure.
Yes.
How they
So
get to that dimension or whatever it is.
yeah,
Unless it's like halfway between hell and
so
like
you have
our
the God hand, you have this thing, you have Zod. So it's like there's like a cloud hanging over. Like like they're gonna show battles and stuff, but like there's bigger stuff on the horizon, which is fun, man. Like dude, it's taking every ounce of my being to restrict myself from not just sprinting through
Same.
every single edition. Like
I leave them in
love
the plastic. I leave them in the plastic
Same.
until I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'll leaf through it and I'll go, "Ooh, that's cool," and then just start reading it. I know I will. It's sitting on the mantle so I can look at it and see the number 3 just burned into my eyes until we talk it. Then I'll just
Yeah, we're bouncing back between Vinland, and it's funny because then I'll read Vinland, and then I'll want to get through Vinland. You know,
gets that momentum and just want to roll for sure.
It's so much fun, dude.
Yeah, they are. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, me too. So then we get done with that battle. Everyone's really impressed, but they're recovering because they actually got pretty messed up. And the king, I missed his name. Someone can tell me in the comments if you remember his name. Do you know his name?
I remember the one dude's name is Julius. That dude
yes,
with
Julius is
shit stash and just the worst.
He's like the leader of the Kingsguard or whatever. He's the Lord Count, and he has a son.
White Dragons, I think it was.
Yeah, the white. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the White Dragons, and he wants to marry his son Adonis to the princess, and the princess's name is Charlotte.
I remember that one.
Little Char, and
Char.
and but Griffith meets Charlotte when he's being recognized by the king. This is a huge deal. And there's obviously an interest right off the bat, right? Like they lock eyes, and it's like, oh, and he like catches her when he falls. It's like very cheesy. Yeah, it's very cheese.
But still, he turns that charm on, dude. Just that sheen.
Dude, he's a Chad, dude.
Yeah, right.
Bro, I saw somebody say this, and I think it is the funniest thing I've heard in like all of 2021. They said Berserk is is the definition of Berserk is everybody wants to be a Chad, but no one wants to be the Chad. Like no one asks how being the Chad feels. Like that's Guts, because everyone's like, dude, Guts is a Giga Chad.
Pretty on point.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But I see this romantic interest, and it's a princess, and I say, whoop, there's the way that Griffith's going to get his kingdom. That seems pretty upfront. But you already mentioned Lord Count Julius, and it's obviously he's not a fan of this because he wants his son to marry Charlotte.
Yeah, he's not a fan of any of them, anyways. He's got the puffy pants and like the fancy shoes. You're like, oh, this dude's a twat, like right out the back.
Well, and then we also meet another twat, and that's the Minister Foss. And he's like Varys from A Song of Ice and Fire is what I put.
100%. Literally, I have that like word for word.
When Netflix eventually does a live action Berserk and ruins it, they'll probably cast the same guy who played Varys from A Song of Ice or Game of Thrones, if you want to call it that.
I would if I was casting for sure.
I would. I definitely would. But Voss starts scheming. He says, "Hey, I heard the Band of the Hawk is actually going to lead the King's Hunt this year." And he's like, "What?" Julius is like, "What do you mean? That's mine." And
that's exactly the voice I hear when I read him too. Like just worst. I don't know if it's from all the audiobooks, but that's exactly what I thought of when I saw his face. That's funny that you said it like that.
It's my hunt. So Foss says, well, maybe Griffith will have an act. It's a dangerous game they play out in them woods, boy. And that's kind of where we see what's going to happen, right? So the poison arrow, they go on the hunt. There's a poison arrow shot from Julius's man or servant or whoever. And I actually thought, I said, this is Berserk, so anything can happen. I thought for sure that Griffith was going to die.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die, and they were going to like have to do some exorcism or like something with.
I was looking at my watch, and I said, "It's been about 5 minutes since I've seen Guts go through a traumatic experience. It's about time."
That's a long time, 5 minutes.
yeah. We need to hurt Guts very badly here.
Yeah,
but lo and behold, what saves him? The egg of the king. Creepy.
Yeah,
it's a little creepy,
and it wasn't even damaged.
No, it wasn't.
Like, what is it? Like, is it hard? Is it like I don't know. The consistency is just bewildering to me.
And you know why it was creepy? Because Guts thought it was haunting. Yeah. Guts had a moment where he was like, "That thing is messed up." Like he's just like, "That's something different."
Yeah, it ran off a like 10-foot tall, whatever demon creature,
ox looking thing
that had bat wings. That thing was sweet.
It was
He just kept getting cooler and cooler. They're just like, let's put more detail in him. His horns aren't big enough.
So he survives, which is wild. And then Griffith is like, oh hey, I know who did it. Hey Guts, you're an assassin now.
How is he an assassin? His sword is as big as a Mack truck.
Dude, I don't know if it was meant to be comedic, but I actually laughed.
I did too. They're like, well, who can we get? It's gonna be Guts. Like, why would you not pick what's the
Casca?
Way better assassin. Like, come on.
There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason, right? Because Griffith feels like he's playing 4D chess.
Yeah.
He's in the know, man. Like you don't have the egg of the king and from the god hand and not know what you're doing.
And he clearly, I mean, he doesn't say anything about Casca, but he definitely has way more trust in Griffith or in Guts.
And I'm not convinced that isn't on purpose either, because Griffith said, like, basically said, Guts is like, I'm sorry I ran off, like during one of the battles, and Griffith's like, no, that's part of my plan too.
Yeah,
and it's just like, ugh, it's like a cult leader almost, man.
So weird, yeah. And well, it is, because like everyone that's there is like, oh, I was here just because of Griffith, and like everyone there is because of him.
Yeah,
there was some other chick too when he was like before that party. I thought it was. I don't think it was.
It was before Guts.
Ponytail.
Yes, it's before Guts goes down to hang out with everyone. She's talking to Guts, or maybe it's after or something.
It's right around that time, and she was swooned by him as well. Which, I mean,
good looking cat.
Yes, got some
Chad
hair. I mean,
Chad's kind of Chad, bro. so Guts is an assassin now with his 80-foot sword. And he kills Julius, which I loved. I'm like, sweet, yes, I'm in. But he also kills Julius's innocent son Adonis, who we actually found empathy for, because we see right before this, we saw Julius sparring with his son. They are beating the crap out of him, and it gives Guts flashbacks to Gambino. And it's like, oh man, this Adonis kid might have a cool start. Nope, he dead, big dead.
Big dead.
And man, what a scene! Like, spears him through the wall, and you can see Guts didn't want to do it, but he had to, because he's a witness.
Wow, yeah.
And in that moment, did you see the flashback that he had? Do you remember what he did?
I don't know.
So he had a flashback of killing Gambino when he kills the kid, but he also then has Zod. I think it was Zod. It was a monster. I'm pretty sure it was Zod.
Yeah. No, it was Zod. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
The monster kills him, but at the end, they zoom in on the monster's face, and he has Guts' face.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I actually had to go back. Now that you say that, I had to go back a couple of times, because that, like, I mean, sometimes I get out of order because of how you read them, and I was like, wait a second, like, did I do that right? But
yeah,
I don't know.
So my question is it a metaphorical look at, now Guts, you're the monster because you killed this, and now your face is on there, or is there something more here?
I mean, there's a strong likelihood that, because he just has a very bad self-image of himself. So I would say that that's part of it, but I still think it seems like there's always a point to everything that's in Berserk, that it comes up later.
Yeah, and at least that's what I'm hoping for. And I think that's like why I feel so addicted to this, like why I just want to continue reading, because I just want my answers. Like I want more answers. I want to know what actually has meaning and what doesn't. Like, what am I reading into too much? But that, I thought that was interesting and of note. So
yeah, I actually kind of forgot about it, but now that you mention it,
I missed it until the reread. When I did a reread, I caught it. So
I do love that we like. I'm with you on the rereads. Is very nice to do, because you forget stuff.
Yeah, and it's always good, to stay fresh. I'll read it, and then before we come on, we read it again. And it helps with the details. Griffith and company move out after that, and he has a little heartfelt goodbye with Charlotte, but we find out her mother, the queen, not a big fan of old lowborn Griffith over here. Not fooled. Which at first my initial reaction is that queen's being stuck up, but maybe the queen's right. Like, maybe Griffith, man, I don't know about him at all. And Foss doesn't like Griffith. So then that makes me like if I don't want to like Foss, he seems like a schemer, and I like Foss is sitting there like considering to himself how he's gonna out scheme Griffith, and then he looks down the hall and Griffith's just like like staring at him, and
That's
he's like,
great.
"Oh."
That was I didn't see that coming at all. That was awesome.
I thought it was a good one.
I kind of wish they would have made him like crap his pants or something. I think
Yeah. Just like smell, like
yeah,
smell-o-vision coming out.
flies.
So we go to this battle, and this is where Deluxe 2 ends off. Casca like falls in the battle. It's like she's dazed or something. She falls off a cliff, and when she's falling, Guts actually dives off to save her. Which again, these two do not get along. They're on the same side, but they don't get along. They end up stranded from a river in the cold, and Guts saves her. They have to like strip down for their body heat, which was a little odd. It is what it is. They end up bickering the whole time, like they always do, which
Always.
it's part of the thing, and they're fighting, over. And honestly, Guts came across like an asshole. I thought, even though he saved her life, he was very sexist. Women can't be warriors, and she basically says it's not my fault I was born a woman.
Well, did you? Okay, so with that, at the beginning of the battle, did you pick up on? I felt like she was like having her period, right? Or am I
You know
way off?
what? No,
'Cause she
you
was,
might be right.
'cause she was like, "Oh no, it's that like what is wrong with me?" And then because they did it one other time earlier, and so
Oh,
like I think that they were like making it that she couldn't fight because she was on her period. That's what I took.
that's a rough.
I know. I mean, I was very shocked, and maybe I'm off
No, you
off
might be onto
point
something, man. You might be onto something, and
because they're like,
I.
"What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "Oh, I just don't know." And then
Jesus Christ,
I
like,
don't know. Maybe I'm off.
no. If someone knows, please tell us in the comments. But I
Yeah,
think that might be to accentuate the fact that she is a female
I agree.
mercenary, and that
Yep.
is not common. I mean, clearly we know that's not how reality works, but
No.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's to dive further into the theme. And she even says it's not my fault. I didn't choose to be born a woman. And it's kind of
Mhm.
like she also, she didn't choose to be a fighter necessarily, because then we end this whole book with, or Deluxe Volume 2, with seeing her backstory and where she met Griffith, and it's because she was a lowborn being abused by a royalty. She's
Yeah.
about to get assaulted, and he comes up, rides up, and is like, who are you? Just because you're noble, that means that you can do all these things. And he throws her a sword and a blanket, right?
Yeah, which was awesome.
And she chose, and she kills him.
Mhm.
And Griffith saved her, and she chose to join him. And it's in her words, because you gave me the sword and a blanket. But he said something interesting. He says, you were already a fighter.
Yep, I was literally gonna say that.
And she's like, but you gave me the sword.
Yeah,
And it's like,
that was pretty like, I literally just got chills when you said that because
yeah.
that was awesome. But, like, I kinda felt like too he was gonna let her hang out regardless of if like, you're gonna pull your own weight, but
Yeah.
he didn't make her fight.
Uh-uh.
Like, you can hang out with us, but you're, like, gonna get your own food basically or do something, and then she chose to fight.
Well, and I think that that's the whole point. I think is she is a fighter.
Mhm.
She just never had to fight at that point, and when push came to shove, she fought, she survived.
Yeah.
And Griffith obviously respects that. He respects that in Guts. So there is a common theme, and let's not also not, cult leaders and things, they do prey on people going through life-changing experiences or traumatic experiences. Now we have Casca and Guts are both
Head
traumatic.
his head generals or well, I guess Casca's not a general, but she's high up.
Casca, she's high up. I thought she was a second. Now Guts
Yeah.
is also a captain at this point.
Mhm.
But this is where we leave off in Deluxe 2. We get Casca's backstory, which I think makes her very much more sympathetic. Though I never actually had a problem with her. Like I know that Guts was
Yeah.
being ridiculous towards
Oh,
her, and
by the way, too, there's like uh, one part. There was like one what do they call it? Panel, um, where he like imagined that he was like laying with her naked when he first gets into camp with the Hawks. Is one panel, and he goes, "Oh, dark brown eyes on a woman," and then he like goes and sees her, and that's kind of when they get into it. Because I think he was like checking her out, like, "Hey, you were in my dreams, and you were naked in my dreams." And she punches him in the gut. You remember that?
you know what? So when I was reading back through it, I thought that I remembered that.
And I was like, did they sleep together? Like, what happened there? Because it was just one panel and it's a glimpse, and
Well,
they have that
I think that she
horns are
was
locked.
keeping him warm. I think she was keeping him warm because he was
Oh,
very wounded.
that's okay.
So I think that she was taking care of him, making sure of the infection. He's probably
Mhm.
shivering, right, from like a fever, like
Okay.
a infection-based fever.
Yeah.
And then he returns it at the end of this deluxe too. I assume. People
Yeah.
let us know down in the comments,
Oh,
please.
yeah, maybe she was keeping him cool and she, like, didn't want anybody to know she was nice.
Yes, that's what I got. Or
Show
Griffith
weakness.
told her to.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, very upset that he was outing her in front of everybody because she's the only woman.
Yes, and then now everyone thinks, yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that's what was happening. I think Griffith told her to do it.
That
I
could
would
be it.
imagine.
Yeah, that would make
And I
sense.
wish I
I don't
remembered.
see her doing it by herself.
No, not out of the goodness of her heart. I don't think so.
No, because she kinda hated him the whole time, even
Pretty much.
before.
Pretty much. Well, they fight. They meet.
Yeah.
And they
Forgot about
say,
that.
remember, his people say, hey, we could go beat him up and take his stuff, get money. Okay, let's do it. Because he had a good showing that day in the battle.
Mhm.
So I mean, it was already off to a rocky start. Really, Griffith's the one that pulls it all together. So yeah, and that's where we drop off for Deluxe Volume 2. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm glad that Casca is being more fleshed out. I want to see what in the hell is going to happen with. I mean, I think it's pretty clear Griffith and Charlotte are going to get together. I assume this is how he's going to get his kingdom, but maybe there'll be a curveball.
I feel like there's gonna be something too in that kingdom. They're hiding something.
Yeah, I also hope that Foss doesn't just like die in the next like issue. Like I hope that Foss continue. I like a schemer, man. I like a spider. So I hope that he continues to, scheme and be a part of the undercurrents of politics in the
Mhm.
kingdom. I think that would be really neat.
Yeah. No, that definitely it gives you someone else to just not like because really
Yeah.
there's no one in there that I don't like right now.
Now, I think it's one of those things where like there's certainly people making bad decisions and doing immoral things, but like we're kind of just fascinated by the whole situation.
Mhm.
And I don't know what I would do if I was Guts. I mean, jeez,
Oh gosh.
I
Yeah,
don't
that'd
want to
be
be Guts.
rough. No, no therapy that quick for old
N-
guts.
Yeah,
Just the old sword and board. Actually, just giant slab
yeah. Just
metal.
yeah, I like how it's like super, like it's not like a refined sword, like it's
No,
literally a slab of metal. Like they even describe it like that. It's
that's something
awesome.
else. I hope they explain where he got. Like, I don't think they did they? Like where he got that sword?
If
Just that he
so,
like trained with a big sword when he was young.
yeah, if so, I can't
Pretty cool.
remember.
Yeah,
But
just showing that he was comfortable with a lot bigger sword because he was a little kid and that's all they had.
yeah, someone will let us know, I'm sure,
Yeah,
in the comments. But yeah, that wraps up Deluxe 2, man. That was fun.
yeah,
And what a good introduction to the Golden Age arc. And I know this one goes a while. I think all the way into like Deluxe 5, which it's 3 editions per deluxe, or 3 issues per deluxe edition. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be doing a deluxe book each time we talk about Berserk, and we're going to alternate between Vinland and Berserk each week, or every time we post. It's usually once every week or two, something
yeah.
like that.
Seems like.
But yeah, thank you all so much for checking this out. We appreciate it. If you have any thoughts about Deluxe Volume 2, please go check it down in the comments. Talk to us. We'll be down in there. This is issues 4, 5, and 6. Please do not tell us anything after 4, 5, and 6, which is Deluxe Volume 2. Please do not give us any spoilers or anything like that. But we'd love to talk about what we have read so far with 1 and 2. If we messed up on something that isn't spoiler for the future, let us know down in the comments too. I like being corrected so I can get my lore straight. Yeah, and Andrew, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
dude.
it.
Thanks. It was fun as
Yeah,
always.
it's a good time. So we will be back in a week or two, and we will be talking about Vinland Saga. We're either going to do the Omnibus 3 and 4 or just 3. We haven't decided yet, but it will be Vinland Saga that we go with on the next episode. And then we'll be back to our boy Guts after that. So thank you so much for checking this out. If you liked the video, hit like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. If you loved it, think about subscribing to get some more manga review, discussion type content. I also review a ton of fantasy books here. And there'll be more manga stuff down the pipe, not just Berserk and Vinland. So you might want to check that out and hit subscribe and turn on the bell and all that good stuff. I do have Patreon down in the description. Optional, but always appreciated. Until we see you next time, we hope you're good. We hope you're safe. And remember to always keep turning the page.